Hello once again everyone. This is part 2 of the story from the subreddit r/infidelity by user throwr82unsure. This is an update and is titled, Update. Finding out the truth about my wife. Getting served. Just before we jump into this update, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider liking and subscribing. Now, let's dive right into this. TLDR. After having a vasectomy after our first child, my wife got pregnant 4 years later. I go to get tested to make sure I'm still sterile, I am, and not the father, and then decide to test our daughter, not mine. I had to wait till after Christmas to have her served. So I met my sister at my house and we started moving my stuff to her house while the divorce goes through, or at least until my STBXW leaves and I get possession of the house. We took 4 carloads to her house and came back for the rest. My sister felt it important for her to be there for support and as a witness. I also moved the nanny cam into the living room so it could record everything in the cloud. At about 10:45 a.m. I got a text from the lawyer saying she had been served. I sent her an email saying that I am at the house when she is ready to talk. A couple of minutes later I got a text from my wife saying, "Why? Blah blah blah." So I resent the first text and waited for her to get home. She sent several texts and voicemails. They didn't mention anything about cheating, just how she thought we were working this out and she thought we would sit down and have a conversation before proceeding with a divorce. Playing the family card and how this will devastate the child and our families. How she feels betrayed. That was a good one. She was still sharing her location, and it took her 20 minutes before she left work. She then stopped at a nearby Walgreens for a few minutes. The purpose of the stop at Walgreens became clear as a police car pulled in behind her in the driveway. According to the officers, she got the police there because she said she was afraid and that we had guns in the house. I showed the officers my empty gun safe and said that I had removed them to another secure location. We went back to the living room and I showed my wife the paternity test that I had done that showed her daughter was not mine. Her response was denial and disbelief, which appeared genuine. She broke down and cried for about 10 minutes. I told her this was the final straw and why I wanted the divorce. At about that time, the police officers reminded me to keep it civil and made their exit after I told them I was leaving soon to stay at my sister's house. When I asked who the child's father was, she claimed she didn't know. I asked if there were that many guys she was sleeping with, or did she just not know his name. I asked how many times she had cheated on me between pregnancies. To which she said it was just the 2 of them. I told her that I had said earlier if she didn't tell the whole truth that I was done. I reminded her I also told her that I wouldn't raise someone else's child. And that she had better figure out who the real father was because I wasn't paying child support for someone else's baby. She wanted to know what we were going to tell our daughter, and I said that was up to her because this was her mess and I wasn't taking the blame or cleaning it up for her. I drafted a couple of emails last week. One for our friends and family with copies of all the test results and reasons why I was asking for a divorce. The other for my wife with copies of the same tests along with what I knew and things that I had told her previously. I had to run it through my lawyer and make a couple of edits before she signed off on it. I sent copies to all our friends and relatives when she pulled into the driveway this afternoon. Most of the feedback has been one-sided and very colorful. In the end, I told her if she had been truthful we might have been able to work things out. But I couldn't trust a lying serial cheater, and I told her if she had gotten her tubes tied instead of me getting a vasectomy she might have got away with it. I told her she needed to get a lawyer so we could move forward and start to heal. Update: we had our second meeting with the lawyers today and we signed off on almost everything except the house, still waiting for an appraisal to come back and figure out the split. Motions got filed today and a court-ordered paternity test was scheduled for all 3 of us. Since STBXW didn't fight me on everything, we filed a no-fault divorce petition. If everything goes right I will get the house back on February 15th and the divorce will be final on April 5th. The lawyers did a better job keeping us separated and the conversation between the 2 of us to a minimum. I was a little worried when she came in, pale and with no energy to speak of. I couldn't tell if it was lack of sleep or maybe over-medicated. She just stared out the windows as the lawyers read everything to us before we signed some of the papers. Walking out felt like I had shed a giant weight from around my neck. HR got me signed up for therapy tomorrow. My boss had put a bottle of champagne on my desk, offered me some time off if I needed it, but I told him I was excited to get back to work. OP said update in the main body. Realized this morning I had lost 8 pounds since this ordeal started and some of my clothes were just hanging on me. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel now and I am not afraid. Critical Bank 5269 said, did she disclose any more info about her infidelity, child's father's ID? Or is she just running through the motions at this point? I suspect she realizes she's been defeated in every way possible now, so probably won't disclose. But she might, in hopes of seeking some form of closure. OP said she had already told me who the bio dad was, but I don't know if I can believe her. Doesn't matter to me at this point. She did say she hasn't reached out to him yet, which makes me think she is deflecting. Not my monkey, not my circus anymore. Equivalent B886 said, did you know about the bio dad? Was he part of your friend group? What happened at the first meeting with the lawyers? OP said, I think I remember meeting him a time or two, but he was not part of our friends group. First meeting was just a prelim with my lawyer outlining our terms and what we intended to do if she contested any of our terms. Supermarket Oak 9538 said, what responses did your friends and family give, also your Mill and Phil? Probably everyone was shocked. Hope your close friends tried to help you out. What did your wife do after she learned the truth? Did she message you back or try to say that you should raise the child? After all, you did the best. Now you need to heal and find yourself a wife who is loyal and loves you. Hard time is gonna come, but be sure, you gonna take it. Good luck, buddy. OP said, so far there has been shock and disgust from most. The paternity test is what hits hardest at most of them. A couple of people weren't surprised about the cheating part, even though they never said anything before. Surprising that none of her close girlfriends have jumped to her defense. Phil sent me a sad email trying to take the blame for not raising her right. He wished me well and said he would pray for me. The ex-wife messaged me a couple of times about talking it out. I think she still wants to save this relationship. I haven't responded to any of them and she stopped trying to reach out a couple of hours ago. Edit. I should have included the bold add-on. I didn't mean to infer a paired couple had those suspicions. Bonkai Lu said, based on what I read, your wife desperately want to keep her good image of her to narrative, which I think mostly know she kind of, sorry, if you won't mind to tell how your wife reacted from D-Day till she getting served. Your wife and her daughter still living there right till the served? Stay strong, man, update me. OP said she'd totally tried to rug sweep the latest pregnancy, saying it was a one-time thing and that we could get past this. Looking back, she tried to smother me with affection. I mean, our sex life was pretty good, but she was going the extra mile to initiate and perform above her usual standard. She was always a good partner, but she went out of her way to be agreeable and not be critical even of things she has complained about before. Spanky018 said, she was going the extra mile to initiate and perform above her usual standard. You were still intimate with her after you found out about the affairs? OP said, a few times, before I found out about the paternity issue. She was still trying to initiate up until yesterday. Priapism911 said, OP, are you working with your lawyer to remove your name from the birth certificate? What does your lawyer say about your chances of not paying child support? OP said, my lawyer is 100% certain that we can surrender my parental rights and responsibilities and not have any obligation to pay child support and get my name removed from her birth certificate. If my ex-wife decides to contest it, then with the DNA evidence, she said, a judge can issue a decree and make it happen. She says she has done it before and sees no problem with this case. But For the Grace 01 said, did you ever learn the identity of the father of the 4-year-old? And or the circumstances of her getting impregnated by another man? OP said she told me his name. I remember meeting him on a lake trip. That was the only time I remember seeing him. I don't know if she has contacted him or done a paternity test or not. I didn't ask for any details. I really don't care at this point, and I'm not sure I would believe anything she told me anyway. But For the Grace 01 said it's not the same man as the recent AP? OP said no, the guy that fathered her daughter we met over 4 years ago. The recent AP she had only known a short time. Different parts of the country also. Deleted user said, how are you doing? Can you update us? OP said, my ex got her share of the equity on the house and has already moved into her new apartment, and I move back in tomorrow. Court-ordered DNA test came back and the judge has approved the motions to terminate my parental rights and obligations. The divorce won't be final till April, but for all intents and purposes, I'm free. Only contact I have with my ex is messages through my lawyer or meetings at the lawyer's office with her present. I blocked the ex and some of her family and friends. She has said she wants to sit down and talk at some point, but my lawyer said it should wait till after the divorce is final. I had dinner with App's wife again as we keep each other up to date on our ex-spouses. I almost feel sorry for him. She got him fired and is determined to drag out the divorce and inflict as much pain as possible. Critical Bank 5269 said, glad you're holding up. It's going to hurt for a while. Took me 2 solid years before I felt whole again after divorcing my cheating ex-wife. Stay strong. Equivalent B886 said, how did she get AP fired? Was AP an employee of the school district? OP said AP worked for her family's business. She told her dad and uncle who ran the business what he did. She didn't have to ask twice. They took his laptop, company phone, credit card, and company car the next morning with no notice. All he got was a cardboard box with his personal stuff and was escorted out. All in about 15 minutes. Equivalent B886 said, that's what I call screwing yourself out of a job. What an idiot your ex picked to cheat with. Did OBS get any confession from him? Any details of the affair on the company laptop or cell? OP said she had all the info I sent her that included his texts. I don't know if they found anything on his company stuff. This is a lot to take into account. I feel sorry for OP and the daughter for having to go through this. OP and the daughter don't deserve this at all. The daughter deserves a father, but it can't be OP. If OP feels that he can't truly love her, then you can't blame OP at all. It is truly devastating for the daughter. OP has the right to walk away if he can't truly give 100% of his heart to her without thinking of the betrayal caused by the ex-wife. This is cold, no doubt about it. Sometimes you have to be as cold as ice to avoid getting hurt again and hurting others that don't deserve it. Instead of blaming OP, the true blame falls solely on the ex-wife and only the ex-wife. There must be consequences for her actions. She is a serial cheater. She won't learn if there are no consequences at all. It is a shame that her daughter has to bear the burden as well. She needs to be better, or her daughter will continue to suffer. OP acted like everyone should when confronted with this betrayal. Cold, emotionless, and meticulous. Because of that, this ensures that his future remains in his hand and that he isn't tied down by his past. As I said before, cheaters never prosper, and AP had what was coming to him. It's a shame that the first AP got away scot-free, but if the ex-wife was smart, she'll sue him for child support, because OP isn't the father and shouldn't have to be burdened with this at all. Overall, I hope OP focuses on his well-being and starts over. I also hope the daughter is doing well.